Good shit.
I don't even have my headphones on. So
You want me to get mine?
Huh?
Want me to get mine? Or you want me to get yours?
I don't need to feed my self-worth by
Why didn't you have
hearing
headphones?
myself.
This is kind of tall, so like, I gotta
Is it too tall? If it's
make
too
sure
tall,
gotta
I can lower
fix
it.
my posture, like, but like,
Guess what?
can I just bring this down?
Yo, it's another week, baby.
There we go.
Yo, baby girl. Baby girl, it's another week.
Chill, she's not a baby.
This week we have my my mistress, Dija. Hello.
Mistress.
Yeah, you're like the third one.
Not the first?
No, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll
Three's
take
not
it.
good, right?
3 is a good number. I like that number. It's my favorite number.
Consider yourself lucky to even be in the list.
What are you doing?
Just kidding.
Of you, huh?
Oh, you got a new phone? Oh, dude, you got a new phone?
No, I'm just. Okay, so the way we're gonna start is kind of different because I finished this book and then I was trying to talk about the book last week and then I just couldn't say anything. So now I'm just gonna read the notes from the shit that I thought was important from it.
Okay.
It's gonna be a bit. I'm probably gonna skip some shit because it's a long ass time. But
It's a bit ridiculous.
and then we could talk about whatever you pick up that stands out the most to you.
So basically,
Right.
you're gonna summarize the whole book.
I'm gonna read my favorite parts of the book from the parts that I marked down to write about, and I did that today in 2 hours. So I really want the whole world to acknowledge my work and effort. Lit.
Understand.
Oh man, that's a lot. Y'all can drop ad libs if y'all want, like oof, you know, like
Yeah, I
oof.
know. When we hear it, we'll do
All right,
that.
anyways,
Overstand.
oh god, so much. Basically, it's called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. It's this spiritual teacher. Worked with Ram Dass. I don't know if you know Ram Dass. I've been fully into this dude like recently. Like I think I've listened to like 4 or 5 of his lectures in the past 2 days. Died December 22nd of last year. No, 22nd actually.
Okay.
Yeah. In the podcast I was listening, the guy who was running the podcast said 22nd. Maybe the news got out the 28th. I don't know. Anyways, basically it talks about he's the author of Power of Now. And Power of Now is like basically about fucking mindfulness and shit like that. So
I like
this
that
is
book.
like a follow-up book. And anyways, God damn it. Any life from any realm, mineral, vegetable, animal, or human can be said to undergo enlightenment. It is, however, an extremely rare occurrence. It's fucking hot, bro. An extremely rare occurrence since it is more than evolutionary progression. It also implies a discontinuity in its development, a leap to an entirely different level of being, and most importantly, a lessening of materiality. This is the intro paragraph, the intro chapter. So he's just talking about as brief as you can, about the fact that everything can undergo enlightenment. So when you are alert and contemplate a flower, crystal, or bird without naming it mentally, it becomes a window for you into the formless. There is an inner opening, however slight, into the realm of spirit. The human mind is highly intelligent, yet its intelligence is tainted by madness, which is basically where we are right now, where like everyone's super smart, but shit is going super bad right now.
Because there's no morality to hold everyone down.
Yeah. Science and technology have magnified the destructive impact that the dysfunction of the human mind has upon the planet, other life forms, and upon humans themselves. Humans suffered more at the hands of each other than through natural disasters. It's just a bunch of like little parts, so I just take a little pause before I go into the next thing. They're not necessarily related. If the history of humanity were the critical case history of a single human being, the diagnosis would have to be chronic paranoid delusions, a pathological propensity to commit murder and acts of extreme violence and cruelty against his perceived enemies, quote unquote. His own unconsciousness projects outward, which is what his enemies are. Criminally insane with a few brief, lucid intervals. You do not become good by trying to be good, but by finding the goodness that is already within you and allowing that goodness to emerge. Basically, it's basically giving you a pathway, or sort of like a beginner's guide to spiritual enlightenment and like spiritual pursuit and spiritual practice. It's all the shit we talk about, but like, you know, he wrote it in a book form, so it's like everything is super well concisely put, where he talks to you about what your ego is, what your ego does, how your ego works, how your ego takes over, what happens when your ego takes over, how you can free yourself from it. And it's the most simple answer to how you free yourself from your ego, which is basically just
Awareness.
becoming, just aware of your fucking ego. That's it. So, I don't know. I think...
When you touched upon, like...
There was also a part earlier, too, that I want to speak on, but I have to see it again if I can.
yeah, I forgot to.
Yeah, it was a lot. So it was, where was it? It was about... Oh, further up.
Ectoplasm.
This phone is so sexy. Oh, my God.
Did you get it as a gift?
No, it's my sister's. She just passed it down because she bought the 11.
Consumers.
I just have to figure $300. It's like $1,000.
Sorry, I just have to really
Sibling
read this.
discount.
Hmm?
Sibling
What's the part
Okay.
that you heard?
Sorry, the part
You
that
found it. Lit.
it was the perceived, like the enemies, which is like your own like unconsciousness, like projecting into.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me speak into this. Like your own unconsciousness projected into like physical form, basically, in my opinion. I would say about that, I stepped into that and realized that like that is, sorry, I'm so nervous. That is like how
should
I
be.
perceive, how I perceive it as well, because it was only recently that I would say, I wouldn't say that I became aware, because that's like an ongoing thing that you
Yeah,
constantly
it's
like
always
strive
happening.
for. Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's no like end to that.
Yeah.
But recently I took in, like it's really like it starts with you and it ends with you. So anything that is within you, it will come out into the form,
Yeah.
into like that form basically. And recently I was taking it and I was like, how come like everything, it was like a victim mentality that I was in for a while. I was like, how come
Why me?
everything, sorry, huh?
Why me?
Yeah, literally. So I was like, how come everything is so like, why are things happening this way? Why is this happening? And then all of a sudden I just stopped taking it as that way. And then when I took in, it's because of like I know they say that you attract the things that you think, but I was like, yeah, that's true, but like I don't deserve all these bad things happening. Like, how am I the one attracting every
Yeah.
single bad thing happening? And it's like, no, like it's
Yeah.
really you. Like you have to stop for a second and stop taking it as something good or something bad. It
Yeah.
just it is.
That's the hardest
what
thing to
it
do,
is,
because like when you're so into it, you're so invested in like, oh, this is why it's this way and this is how it got here. It's like you kind of have to like destroy that whole story and be like, no,
Yeah.
it's zero,
literally.
Yeah.
and it starts from my mind. And that's why like, well, that's why we have tools for that, right? Like meditation, whatever, sports, yoga.
Because
Like-
the truth is, like, everything is what it is. And then anything else that it could be is anything else that you project onto what is.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
like when something happens, people, if it's not a pleasant emotion or feeling that arises from it, you add shit. Like
Yeah.
you like, oh, this is
you
this is
name it.
this is yeah, you
And
name it. And
that
as soon as you
also-
name it, you take away its isness.
Essence.
Yeah.
Very true. And also like in one of his books as well, it was the Power of Now. He was mentioning.
Oh, you read it?
Yeah.
Lit.
It was mentioning identification and comparing it to. It was identification and just taking it for like what I don't know the other word he used. I don't remember right now, but it's like when you identify with something, that's when you put a label on it.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes this thing.
Yeah.
That's when it affects you in this way, in that way,
Yeah.
and this way. But when you just stop and become like the observer of it, it's like, oh, it's just this thing that's not that
Yeah.
serious or it's not that harmful or it's not that deep. It really
And,
just is. And then when you let it be that, you embrace it in like such a different light. Like I don't know, it's like some like like the pathways that like you feel, it just switches everything. Like your senses just
Liberation.
literally your senses just feel so different. And
Yeah.
it's like when you take it in, like wow.
Your whole
this is-
world changes.
Yeah, literally. And I feel
Perception.
different taking it in a different way. I feel so much different.
Yeah.
I don't
And
hold it
also,
so
like, I
tightly
was listening
anymore.
to the Duncan Trussell one, the new podcast with Duncan Trussell, and the guest was talking about like allergies and how allergies form. So before, like when we're evolving, like there are all these bacteria forms that like they're always in our environment. But then once like we started living in civilization, there's like Lysol, you wipe everything clean, 99%, 99.9%, right? So there's nothing. Like your body's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's nothing to defend against. So your immune system kind of
Builds
is like,
something?
it builds something. It's like, okay, there's nothing to defend against. So maybe that's a threat. Maybe that's a threat. That's allergy. So you start having like, you eat this, and some people are allergic to peanuts, blah blah blah. Like, you know.
But hasn't those existed forever though? Allergies?
Who knows? Because I
That's
feel
true,
I feel like with civilization, everything's so like safe and comfortable that you don't really have to go outside your comfort zone. And once you do, or even if you don't even have to, you start just like reacting to things. Like,
it's true because your mind is connected to your body, so your body even starts to assume that it's this way because it's all in the mind.
And it's kind of like happening. He was saying in the podcast that it's related to like, it's a psychological allergy as well, because nowadays it's like everything's on the news and everything you know what's happening. Crime rates this, blah blah blah, like black people being shot by the police, but like it's safer than ever to actually go outside.
Oh yeah, this is the greatest time to be alive, objectively
But
speaking.
just the perception is like, oh, my kid's this, like, you know, like it's just overprotection.
So it's like, that stops nothing. Like trying to avoid something is literally the easiest way for it to come in a different form.
Yeah, because when you're running from it, you don't see the fact that everything is just a circle, right? So when you're running away, you're just gonna end up. back.
And avoidance is the same thought. You're thinking it more than you think you are as well when you trying to avoid it. Like it just brings it into a new light for you.
It's annoying shit to think about. Like I found myself getting like, if you're not in that state, which is like, you know, the state like psychedelics will bring you in when you can kind of go around to abstract thoughts easier. Like when you're not in that state and you're reading this, it's like you feel like you're almost reaching, you understand what he's saying, but like it's like, oh, like it's simple shit too, but it's
when
like
you're not.
It's because it's just the paradoxes, right? And sometimes it's hard to grasp, like for your mind to grasp a paradox.
It's like two contradictory ideas. Like how does it fit into one thing?
Yeah, there's so many of those in that book. Like it's ridiculous.
Einstein actually says the mark of intelligence is to be able to hold two contradictory ideas at the same time.
Yeah, because that's the whole duality thing. That's the only thing I posted on the archives yesterday, where I was like, it's from a Ramdas lecture where he was talking about how you know how there's dualism ish, like where it's like good, bad, right? And then that's the two, and then a lot of people play in the two, but they get lost in the play, or they get lost on the one, like in the other. And to be able to play within those two,
it's like, bad is fully bad.
You have to first become one. So one means you transcend both, which is like you either, like basically the yin yang polarity says that you're either yin or yang, right? And then the flow is when you kind of just become both, which is when you become the circle itself instead of each side. So when you become the circle, you can play within those two without getting lost in it.
I was just in my class today, strategic management, and I saw this. Like, I saw the principles of like yin and yang inside, like the non-action part. It's like, okay, if you want to specialize in a certain market, you can't satisfy all your customers. So you have to let go of like certain markets or certain products, or else your strategy is going to collapse because you're going to like too much cost. You're not going to make as much profit. And it literally just comes down to like, if you want to get something done, you have to know what to leave undone, or else you're just like wasting time.
Yeah, you can't get everything done.
Like I feel like we've had this conversation so many times.
But I don't know.
But more comes up every time you do it.
It makes because bro, what you realize is nothing's new. Like at a certain point, when you become at a certain level, when you get to a certain point of awareness, nothing is new.
Just
like
get to higher
absolutely
and higher levels
nothing.
of it.
Every day is the same in a new way. Like every single day is just the same shit. You wake up, blah blah blah, and everything just is. So like nothing's new when everything just is, right? But anyways, he's talking about being yourself and shit, because that's something a lot of people struggle with. Who am I, right? And then it's funny. You just laugh. Anyways, you're most powerful, most effective when you're completely yourself. But don't try to be yourself. That's another role. It's called natural, spontaneous me, quote unquote. As soon as you are trying to be this or that, you are playing a role. Just be yourself, quote unquote, just be yourself is good advice, but it can be misleading. The mind will come in and say, let's see, how can I be myself? Then the mind will develop some kind of strategy, quote unquote, how to be myself, another role, or quote unquote, how can I be myself? Quote unquote, how can I be myself is in fact the wrong question. It implies you have to do something to be yourself. But how doesn't apply here because you are yourself already. Just stop adding unnecessary baggage to who you already are. But I don't know who I am. I don't know what it means to be myself. If you're absolutely comfortable with not knowing who you are, then what's left is who you are. The being behind the human, a field of pure potentiality rather than something that is already defined. So, like, who is Acris?
It's a story that I've made up.
Yeah.
I get born, I have a family, I go to this school.
But it's just so annoying to think about these things.
Well,
It's like,
the Ramdas lecture you sent me yesterday.
you listen to it?
Yeah, he's talking about like you have to become somebody before you become the nobody.
Yeah.
Because like otherwise you don't have the polarity of like the difference. Oh, this is where I am. This is where I need to be. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like when he says become yourself, that he's kind of saying become nobody, because at that point you're just empty, right? You're letting whatever that is coming through your experiences just flow out.
So it's basically like stripping yourself of what you thought you were or what
Yeah.
people have put you as, like the labels once again, and then just being literally what you. I feel like also it ties into like, I think to be yourself and to be authentically you is to be true to yourself, right? And in order to be true to yourself, you have to listen to what you feel. Because I'm someone that I really tie in feelings to, like, because you will know, like, if this feels good, then okay, well, to an extent. If something feels good, it like truly feels good, not like a pleasure thing, but more like an authentic yes. If it fulfills you, then you know that is the truth. Then you can work towards that and go towards that to see that, okay, this is what I resonate with. So clearly this is part of my actual truth. So clearly I should be not, then it's like trying to be that thing again. Yes, it makes sense. So trying to like just, not trying, being that thing.
Yeah.
Because when I'm saying, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is actually the opposite of what you're saying. So just being that thing is doing what feels right. And then when you do what feels right, you understand more of what you are, and then you just go into that.
Yeah.
That's so hard to do though, because
it is very hard.
People don't know what they want. And it's like, oh, I might want the new car. But what I actually want is the sensation. Like when you actually get the car, you finally have the,
it's not about the car,
here,
yeah.
I'm here.
It's not about the
Finally
car,
in
it's the
this space
sensation. Yeah. But what was I gonna say?
So people kind of just like chase, oh, this thing, this ring, that. You know, like, and they just build on top of each other. So sorry.
It's the no. It's the, you actually helped me. It's the, what we were talking about is just intuition. It's just, it's not something you're logically thinking about. What do I like? And then you kind of try to logically break down what you like.
You just intuitively.
There is something that, like, something in your spirit that kind of
just drawn to it.
Yeah, that just draws you to it. And that's how everyone already knows everything and already knows the path. Because if you didn't, when the thing comes up, you wouldn't go, Like when you come across new knowledge, it's not necessarily coming across something that's new. Because if you didn't know it, you wouldn't respond to it.
Right. You're kind of just being reminded of it.
Yeah, you're just being reminded. So when you come across something that makes you feel good, like when you talk, I know what the feel you're talking about. It's hard to express.
Remember, right? Remember. I'm a member once again.
Basically. Oh yeah. Fucking words, bro. Valuable. Valuable. I don't know. Actually, that tripped me out when you said it earlier. I was like, what the fuck? Habitable.
I'm able to assign value to this.
Habitable.
So it's
makes
valuable.
it down and break it down like
Responsible. Response able.
I'm able to respond to my obligations in this worldly.
Anyways, there's another
Saying
one which
a lot of
I think we can expand on this one because, oh, bro, he talks about success too. So many fucking fire gems this dude drops. Anyways, that one I read to you last week. Acknowledging the good that is already in your life is the foundation for all abundance. The fact is, whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you are withholding from the world. You're withholding it because deep down you think you are small and that you have nothing to give. Try this for a couple weeks and see how it changes your reality. Whatever you think people are withholding from you, praise, appreciation, assistance, loving care, and so on, give it to them. You don't have it, ? Just act as if you had it and it will come. Then, soon after you start giving, you will start receiving. You cannot receive what you don't give. Outflow determines inflow. Whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you already have, but unless you allow it to flow, you won't even know that you have it. The source of all abundance is not outside of you, it is who you are. It is part of who you are. Jesus puts it like this: for the one who has, more will be given, and for the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. So the whole abundance.
That's why poor
thing.
people aren't allowed in church. I don't know. I'm just
I was
saying,
actually,
you know, like culturally, you know, like
Yeah.
oh, priest says this, so culturally it's like, oh, they're dirty, they can't come in here. They're not. This is a clean space, a place for God, and then it kind of gets misinterpreted by humans. The word of God gets misinterpreted by humans, and then
so
it becomes a
there's
whole
so
fucking thing.
So much garbage.
that's
put on
also
the
because
God's
I think
name.
one of the hardest things, well, for me at least, like to grasp was gratitude. It's like, so you want me to like this little thing that I have to get more of it when
Basically.
the more that I have is not here? How am I supposed to do that? So, like, honestly, for me, mine, like the way I learned to be grateful for it was honestly through God. Like, whether you believe in that, you can call
Yeah.
it the universe, whatever. Self, honestly, it's all the same thing. I don't know how you can start doing it, but it's literally to see what you, because if you don't see the things that are, so basically you have to love what's actually in front of you. So that's also being present, being fully present in
Yeah.
what is here. Because if you're looking at the thing that you want in the future, which doesn't really exist technically, or the thing that you used to have in the
Goals.
past, which technically doesn't exist
Not
either.
technically, it just
Yeah,
literally
does
doesn't.
not exist. Well, to some people, it's a technical thing, but if
Literally
it doesn't
don't
exist,
exist.
it's like, what do you have right now? You only have what is here. And
Yep.
if you see that as something as valuable, you will say, wow, this little thing is actually not that little. It's actually something pretty huge that I can
It's
expand
kind of back
on.
to that vanity, because the book I gave you just now, it kind of touched upon like, don't participate in vanity, because like if God put you here and if you're an expression of God, then like why
Nothing
is
is
that
missing from you.
worthless?
No-
Like
exactly,
you're here for a
exactly.
reason. You're learning things. You need to,
Exactly.
and also just back to like like it's so hard, right, to be grateful.
Yeah.
Joe Dispenza, bro, like do you know Joe Dispenza?
No.
He's just like
Big
is he a
nigga.
neuroscientist? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
he studies.
He's kind of like
he
studying the
studied
science
it.
of meditation, and like the biggest thing about it is it's not the intellectualizing. Oh, I have to be grateful. It's
The feeling.
oh,
It's yeah,
I
exactly.
feel it from my heart. It's like, oh, it's not this mic here that I have purchased, blah blah blah. It's wow, someone made this. It feels like this, and it's actually functioning. Everything's going through this wire into this, and now people here can hear it.
Everything that has
But-
led to it getting to the point where it's at now, and everything it's allowing you to do, and you just appreciate and just
But
notice
let's
that.
say this is from a perspective of someone who so-called claims that their life from this point and forward was just terrible. How can they actually, what can they do to actually see that in the way you're seeing it and see it as like, okay, yo, this thing here is actually more than how I perceive it to be? How can they take those steps to do that? Because it's one thing for us to say, okay, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
see it differently, but how do you see
Yeah.
it
There's
differently?
a
How do you-
theoretical and the practical.
And
Yeah.
especially with people whose minds are trained to see the worst in things because that's all that has been happening, right? It's like there's actually it's more strategic than that to try to get to that point
'Cause
for
it's
certain
tough.
people.
The
It's
thing-
not
the
that
thing
easy.
that
Those
happens-
people, they're just in their heads. They
Exactly. So it's like you have to like
They're just worrying about what's gonna happen
exactly,
next.
Exactly.
The thing that happens is it starts super light, but then you fall into the rabbit hole of your thoughts. The way it works is, I don't know. Usually it's emotions that kind of give rise to certain thoughts. So let's say you'll feel something, and shit goes fully wrong for like a whole year or something. Like things been going wrong, and not only maybe they've been going right, but maybe you were raised to be conditioned to just see the negative and shit. So that being someone who only sees the negative, when the negative is fully happening at a max, you're gonna the negative emotion that comes from it creates thoughts, which create emotions, which create thoughts, and then it just strengthens itself, and then the ego starts to just fully just strengthen itself in what
To
it
the point where
believes,
it's
right?
Ties on to whatever
Bigger than you.
So at a certain point, your whole perception is changed. That's what Joe Dispenza talks about, and also psychocybernetics, this doctor who talks about how your mind is kind of like a heat-seeking missile, and whatever target you set, as soon as you shoot, it just focuses on that, and that's all
Because
it sees.
it is-
Everything
it's-
else is an obstacle.
It's a pattern recognizing device that strives for just efficiency, right?
Yeah.
And same podcast as Duncan Trussell, and the guest was talking about. I think I've touched upon this study before, but is a rat, right? Is a rat in a like a tiny cage. So in one side, I think there was a light. Oh yeah, there's two groups. So if he sees a light, so let's say I'm rat number 1. I see a light there, and then I get shocked, right? And then rat number 2, there's no light. He just gets shocked. So he has nothing to really distinct. This is when it's gonna happen. So to him, life is just a fucking whole bunch of like
unexpected shit
shit
on
that's
whenever,
going wrong
don't know
for
when.
you.
Yeah,
Like it's gonna shock you, you know?
Yeah.
But then the other one, it's like, oh, the light goes on.
I get shocked.
I'm learning. Let's not go there. So if you don't have that, it's kind of like if you grow up like that, it's like there's no really mechanism to keep you safe from the danger.
There's no light.
Then you're just gonna be like fucked for the whole life, for your whole life, because everything's gonna go wrong.
Everything is a potential shock.
So do you think the concept of faking it till you make it would work in the sense of trying to understand gratitude more? Like, say like you're not as grateful for something, but being like, okay, this is not so bad. I like this thing. But even if you don't feel as
I think
great,
it is
like,
it is a solution to everything, because like it says in the Bible, right? I am. Just be it. But the hardest thing is like we intellectualize it. It's like, oh, I need to be here. So what does it look like? What is it? No, just feel it.
I need to be what? What do I need? What do I need to be?
And it's like, where's I going with this?
The steps.
It's you need a tool to kind of draw you back.
Yeah. As you're
to
falling.
The word,
to catch
which is
you.
awareness. So yeah, just to catch you from like, oh, in same Ramdas lecture, he's saying, okay, you're walking on the street, saying your mantra, whatever, you're being aware, and then it's been like 20 minutes have passed, you're still repeating the mantra, whatever, and then you see some cigarettes to your left. You walk in the store, you're still saying it, seeing it, or saying the mantra, you're still meditating, but then you see the one you really like. Oh, pack of cigarettes, blah, blah, blah. At that point, you're just, oh, let me, and you don't even have that space of awareness until like 2 days after.
Yeah.
Right? And then you realize, fuck, I've been just unconsciously walking this whole time.
Isn't it weird how sometimes you actually feel like even though you've been living that like you'll have a moment when you just snap out and you're like, whoa,
I
like,
wasn't
what's been
doing
going on
this.
the past few hours, days, weeks? Like it's like, whoa, what the fuck's been going on? That's actually a scary thing.
That's what I noticed too. Like lately, life has been feeling like it's going in slow motion, but in the best way, because like when you've come to that sense of like taking in more and like the
presence,
essence, and the presence of every single thing, the days, the hours, everything. When you don't focus so much on time, you realize that it's going at a very.
It's not even that it's going slow.
Not slow, but it's
flow. It's when you're out of time.
Exactly.
And everything.
Because it doesn't exist anymore. Like time literally does not exist as
everything
that
is
thing
super
that it was
interesting.
before.
Everything
like,
becomes so vivid. Like the orange on your shirt.
So you really pay
the
attention to what
holes in
this
the wall.
is. Like,
and that's
even the decisions you make is like it's more.
And
precise.
I think that's why artists are so like it's such a not underappreciated. Like people love look at art, but they don't really understand why it's called art. Anybody can do it. Anybody can tune into the present moment and be like, wow. Round. It's a perfect circle. The hole in the wall is so beautiful.
Yeah.
But no one actually takes the time to step back to the awareness and be like, whoa. But it's always there.
It's always there, but we have to meet it in order for us to like see it as that thing too. Because if we're not seeing it as that, it's just gonna be another thing. Time's gonna pass. Everything's just gonna fly by us. Exactly. So.
Good segue. What's your artistic process like?
My artistic process. That's a good question. I sit and I let it come to me. Literally. I used to be like, okay, I'm gonna write today. And I'm gonna write the best thing I ever wanted to write today. But now I sit and honestly I would just hold the paper and wait for something to come to me.
Next thing you know, something's written.
Yeah, if something comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Sometimes it rhymes, sometimes it doesn't. Or it also depends on what I'm feeling. If there's a thought that's like something that's constant, say like a heartbreak happened, okay? And that heartbreak is just on my mind, in my heart, just constantly, and I can't get it out, I have to transmute that feeling because I don't like to sit in those emotions. I know I should sit in emotions longer, but I don't like to sit in it to the point where it's dwelling and not like letting it be what it is. So in the process of that, I just literally just let it come to me. That's always
you can't let it.
But
you can't let it
takes
consume you though.
time.
You can't let
time.
emotions consume you like that.
Yeah.
The thing about emotions is you have to feel them, but don't get lost in them.
Yeah, I've only recently learned how to do
And
that.
having an artistic practice can help, but anything else like could be, I don't know,
Bro,
dancing.
everything
like,
is art. Like
basically.
you kick the ball, and it lands on your teammate's foot.
You know,
Everything in that process
you know how much
is so
fucking
precise.
art there is in sports, bro. You know how fucking crazy
Just a millimeter,
shit,
bro. Like,
and it's like with everything, right? Someone will watch people do it, like skating. Before I tried to start skating, bro, I used to watch skating videos. I'm like, bro, this is the simplest
how
shit. They're
does
just
the skate
jumping.
just leave the
Do
ground?
that, like-
I'm
how
like,
does it
they're
just
just
leave
jump?
the ground?
I thought ollies were the simplest thing until I tried to fucking do it ollie.
Why is the skateboard still on the ground?
I can't. No,
What the
skateboarding, I
fuck?
can't do that.
Oh man, it's the weirdest thing to just figure out the best, because there's a sequence of movements you're supposed to do at a perfect timing so that the board can knock itself down and then jump and then in back. And then you try to do it and you realize there's so much
More to it than you thought there was.
Holy fuck.
When you're learning, your brain is fucking firing. It's like, fuck,
When you're first learning something,
right,
oh, yeah.
wrong,
Yeah.
right, maybe right, wrong. So you learn,
To
like
just
your
learn to be a student.
your
And then
brain
as
is
soon
actually
as you
developing
hit-
so much.
As soon as you hit one, your brain's like, oh shit. All right, something worked here. Something worked here.
Yeah, but you're still level one.
Let's figure it out. Let's do it. And then you're more likely to do it again because you just did it once. So now, like, you put that morphic resonance out, like, so you're building the habit. It's very interesting. But I think that's basically any kind of artistic process. You don't really think about your cloth either, bro. Like you just
When I
you
do,
kind of
it
just
doesn't
custom.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking about that with my friend Connor yesterday. And how he was talking about how like he'd get writer's block for making beats and shit. I'm like, yeah, it's the most annoying thing because
But let it be.
like the moments when you don't give a shit are the moments you make the best,
Most
the
beautiful
insane
art.
best things. And then that ties in with this, where it's because your ego's involved. The reason why you make your shitty things when you want to fucking create is because your ego is involved. And ego is not divine whatsoever. Ego is your.
It is divine.
It is, but it's like if you don't
an extent.
if you let it
It's
rule,
divine?
if you let it rule you, that's when you stop yourself from connecting to the higher
like
thing.
people
Right?
kind of like demonize the ego. Like, no, like you're in a body, you're in this world where you have to deal with people,
You
events.
can't be without it.
You can't be without, or else you'll be naked on the streets, jumping on every single building, jumping off of every single building. You're not gonna be here anymore. That shit keeps you in this world and functioning.
But I think right now, how we're all seeing ego is exactly as that. We're taking it as, okay, my ego's in the way. I can't do this. My ego's this. I can't be this.
You know what's hilarious? That's ego.
I know, because it's like, and that's the thing. Like,
Who is
it
it?
literally throws you off the whole like realm of things that you're trying to be in. Because it's like, I used to like do this thing where I'm like, hey, I am an artist. I need to make art today. So I need to sit here and do this, and this is the art I need to make. Then I'm like, wait, like I'm an artist, okay, but like I don't have to say I'm an artist or tell myself I'm an artist to make this art. It's
You
just-
enjoy writing.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Enjoy.
You just make things. And
Enjoy.
And ever since then, it's
things.
become much better in my writing. Much
The hardest
better.
thing to do is to enjoy and keep your mouth shut.
Exactly.
Oh, he talks about. Anyways, this is about addiction, which is something many people deal with today too. If you have a compulsive behavior pattern such as smoking, overeating, drinking, TV watching, internet addiction, or whatever it may be, this is what you can do. It's the simplest advice, but it's like whatever. When you notice the compulsive need arising in you,
No, it's simple as the best.
of course, that's what of course. Stop clever. He has a quote about that too. Clever is, I need to find it. Cleverness is trash. Anyways, when you notice the compulsive need arising in you, stop and take 3 conscious breaths. So you're probably doing it right now. This generates awareness. Then for a few minutes, be aware of the compulsive urge itself and energy field inside you. Consciously feel that need to physically or mentally ingest or consume a certain substance or the desire to act out some form of compulsive behavior. Then take a few more conscious breaths. After that, you may find that the compulsive urge has disappeared for the time being, I mean. Or you may find that it still overpowers you and that you cannot help but indulge or act it out again. Don't make it a problem. Make the addiction part of your awareness practice in the way described above. As awareness grows, addictive patterns will weaken and eventually dissolve. Remember, however, to catch any thoughts that justify the addictive behavior, sometimes with clever arguments. As they arise in your mind, ask yourself, who is talking here? And you will realize the addiction is talking. As long as you know that, as long as you are present and as the observer of the mind, it is less likely to trick you into doing what it wants. It's like the simplest advice.
And it kind of ties into like the neuroplasticity thing because, and like, how do I get out of this rut? Because if you're not really like challenging yourself, you're just, every single day you're addicted to the exact same thing you did yesterday. You might not see it as an addiction, but it is because you're kind of trapped in the whole, the rut. And it's so important to like just have a practice or a new practice. That's the thing. Practice, but also new things that are challenging you. Like level 1 we talked about
that bringing you that awareness. Yeah.
Awareness and the difficulty that like, wow, new neural patterns. And like, what's a new practice that you guys have been doing recently?
I would say it's the same practice, but an extended period of it. I would say a longer time of meditation, if that counts.
It does.
So that's something that I do now.
It's harder, huh?
But
it's like,
have I accomplished it? No, but
there's no accomplishing
very
it.
True,
though.
very true. It's a very hard process to deal with right now because the thing is, I wouldn't say it was an addiction, but when I used to do my meditation practices, I would always stop before the time that I wanted to stop at, which is actually much better than how I was. Wait, say the question again.
Are there any new practices that you've been practicing?
Yes, but like you were going somewhere with that question, were you not?
Oh,
because you were gonna touch on the topic of addiction, were you not?
Yeah.
I was. Fuck.
Yeah.
Never mind. Just
Time.
Yeah. So meditation,
Blame
a longer practice in meditation. So that's the answer. Yes, I'll touch on it when you say it, because I had a thought and I forgot it. So.
What about you?
Kind of the same thing. I'm kind of just switching everything right now. Like what you saw for the board, like the whiteboard. Usually every month I have a whiteboard that tells me what I'm supposed to do for the month. Like, and then at the start of every year, I write out everything I want to do the year. But then getting into these things about like being here and being with what is and being present, I'm like, I've realized I've been so focused on future. And it's cool. I've transcended past to a certain extent where I don't really care about it that much. And I know that it's not something to be taken super seriously. It's a tool to think about past shit because it helps you not repeat shit that you maybe did in the past you don't want to repeat again. But future is the same fucking shit where you can be so lost in the future that it becomes destructive.
Anxiety.
So everything you tend to do just becomes like for the future. Like you're not even living right now. You're just living in a time that doesn't exist.
And doing this so you can get to this.
You're doing this so you can get to this.
You get this outcome. Yeah.
And Ramdas talks about it in a lecture. I don't know if it's the one I sent you, but it was the one about motives for meditation.
Yeah, that was the one.
Which is one that people don't think a lot about because, especially in the West, because a lot of the West involves doing a spiritual practice. It's spiritual materialism, you called it? Like when you do a spiritual practice so you could kind of use it to like boost your ego, which you can do. Like, and what's worse about it is you still get the powers that you get from the spiritual practice. So if it's rooted in ego and egoic intentions, then you can start like when your mind is silent, you become so much more powerful as a human being. Because you're just here,
yes,
like you notice
And you also touched upon action from silence. So let's say you're working, because like a lot, like working out or fitness gets kind of like, it's why do you do it? Most of the time, it's just to look nice.
to get
jacked. Like you're not actually building any functionality, so you're kind of just tearing your body up. Future, right? I want to look like this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. But no, if your body can't handle it anymore today, like. Just put it down. Like, there's always tomorrow. What are you in a rush for?
Yeah.
And your intention for the practice is going to determine the outcome.
Exactly. For me, when it like you're talking about how when you do things for certain outcomes because you want, say like working out, you work out because you want to get to this point to be this person. To do this. I used to do that for meditation. I'm like, okay, I want to be spiritual and enlightened, so I'm gonna meditate for that reason. I want to be woke. Then I'm like, no, like it is an internal thing. Like when I used to struggle internally to do, I still struggle, but like to get to the places that I wanted to. You didn't know?
Still in the trenches.
Yeah, man. But yeah, when I wanted to get to the certain places, I'm like, hey, yo, I have to do this. And a reason that was happening also is because we have the wrong idea of what spirituality is and what like these spiritual things, like even the whole term spiritual, like it's a thing that we, like it's a label once again.
It's a goal we strive towards.
Exactly. But how we use it now is like, we're like, okay, we're going to do this to become this kind of person, to do this so we can be like these people. When at the end of it, once again, it starts with you and it still ends with you.
Yeah.
Like it's you are the end and you are the beginning. Like it's all ties into
If I could give it like a definition, spirituality, it's kind of like, okay, what are you right now? It's awareness. What are you? Awareness. I'm awareness. We're all the same thing.
Exactly.
So the goal is kind of to come back to that one point where you become awareness, God. And that's like spirituality, religion is trying to do. It's go back to source. And that's what spirituality is.
Presence, reach presence.
But so let's say someone does not believe in God at all. Do you believe that they can still be a spiritual person?
It depends what they mean by God.
I think you find God in your spiritual path no matter what the path is.
Okay.
The more you actually, like, let's say the person goes into meditation not believing in any higher being, within it, I'm convinced they're going to find it somehow.
Because they're connecting back to just themselves, right?
Because all you see is that everything else is you. And then you start to see
Fucking hippie.
the you-ness in everything. And then that itself is God. Like like if you don't find an external God, you'll see it within yourself, which is the external God.
True.
So either way, I think basically every spiritual path leads to the same way, leads to the same route.
Just in different words.
So no matter where you are when you start, you're going to end up in the same place, which is being God. And you might call it whatever you want because there's so many different names for God. There's Geo, there's Acris, there's Dija, there's God, there's Jesus,
there's Mo,
there's door, there's table. You're going to end up there because everything is God anyways. And the more present you become, the more you witness God and everything. So I think you're going to end up where you started no matter what.
Thank you, Gio.
That's a great answer.
I guess you win.
You want
Today's
a cookie?
podcast.
You want a cookie?
Oh man, this is what you were talking about. This is what you're talking about. Here are some ways in which people unconsciously try to emphasize their form identity, which is form material. If you are alert enough, you may be able to detect some of those unconscious patterns within yourself. Colin. Demanding recognition for something you did, or getting angry or upset if you don't get it. Trying to get attention by talking about your problems, the story of your illness, or making a scene. Giving your opinion when nobody has asked for it, and it makes no difference to the situation. Being more concerned with how the other person sees you than with the other person. That is a crazy one.
Repeat that.
Being more concerned with how the other person sees you than the other person. Which is to say, using other people for egoic reflections or as an ego enhancer. Trying to make an impression on others through possessions, knowledge, good looks, status. Hey, I can meditate for an hour. Physical strength, and so on. Bringing about temporary ego inflation through angry reaction against someone or something. Taking things personally, feeling offended. Making yourself right or others wrong through futile mental or verbal complaining. Wanting to be seen or to appear important. But the main one is really just caring more about how someone else sees you than the person themselves, which is like what I think happens a lot in so many interactions, where every time you're speaking to someone, you kind of just want to enforce or inflate an idea of yourself that you have. So you start to put this mask on, and then you care more about the person. You care more about what the person thinks. The outcome of the conversation for you is to just feel better about yourself. Just have the person think, oh man, he's so cool, or oh thanks, so wise, blah, blah, blah. Instead of actually connecting or finding yourself in that person.
Do you think that's equally a conscious and subconscious thing?
It's unconscious. Like the whole thing about it is you're either living consciously or unconsciously. Unconsciously is like everything ego driven, and as soon as you're conscious, you can't.
You can't do, yeah.
Because what you realize when you're meditating is you become conscious of your thoughts. When you fall into just thinking and you just become your mind's slave or like whatever, you're unconsciously thinking, and you're just automatically, as soon as something comes up, you're aligned with it. But there is a witnesser in front of it, and you can become.
You learn to be that witness.
You can become the witness, right? And then when you become the witness, you're conscious. So you start to take your thoughts less seriously. So I was meditating this morning, and a bunch of shit kept coming, and I was like, "Look at this dude!" Like I was like, "Nigga,
fucking sitting cross-legged."
I was like, "What the fuck are you fucking thinking right now? That's fucking ridiculous."
I was at work yesterday, and a few of my friends came in, and like they went to just like pray, right? And I was like, "Wow, that's an amazing practice." You literally just for 5 minutes, you go somewhere quiet and you sit and you pray. I want to kind of implement that. Like, sorry, gotta go sit down and do nothing for 5 minutes.
Oh, that happened to me at work. An Arab person came in, Muslim, because I think that's a Muslim practice. Anyways,
are you Islam?
They came.
Are you Islam?
A little bit.
They came in, and then I was like, "How many items are you trying in? Or are you trying on?" And she was like, "No, I just need to pray. Do you have any room like I could pray in?" So she just needed like one of the fitting rooms to just pray because it's her time to pray. But the thing that happens is it becomes so dogmatic, right? Where it's like I have to pray. Like, oh fuck.
It's like almost brainwashing to an extent, because we're off the same topic. I was talking to my boss about how he went to Kenya for his trip, and I think like they're predominantly Muslim there. So when he got in the cab, like he looks Arab, but to them he's just white, right? Or if you're Arab, they kind of assume that you're Muslim, right? So when he got there, it's like he said that he's Christian, blah blah blah, and they're Muslim, and then instantly the look on the guys changed, the face changed. Why do you even practice religion if that's what you're gonna do? Like, you're so at that point it's just brainwash. This is better. Look at me. You're the other. You know, you leave the practice completely.
And the joke is, like, all of those practices are trying to go to the same place.
That's also because, like, for me, I had to learn to build a personal relationship with God before I implemented religion. Yeah. And that's the thing. When you focus on religion more, like before you actually have the relationship with God, because now I'm like, okay, when I do things that are not right, I could be like, okay, like sometimes I'll have a spliff and I'll be smoking a spliff and I'll be talking to God with the spliff in my hand. But
the spliff is God. Spoiler alert. You can find God in the spliff.
Who grew it? Light.
But
water.
And when I'm in that moment, I'm like, okay, like I've been in a place where I understand that like sin is a thing, yes, but at the same time, I don't, because like for me, it's like, okay, God, you this is God and this is religion, okay? Yes, they are tied together, but when I'm talking to God, I speak to him, and through that, I know how to go about religion,
and that's the
and not
thing.
Going about religion to get, for me at least, to not go about religion to get closer to God, because I had to kind of do it backwards in order to go back.
The closer you are to God, the
more you go into religion.
The easier religion is.
Yeah, because religion is so set as a rule, like as a ruling of things, right? And when you're just trying to follow the rules,
you have to pray at this time.
Yeah, your heart's not really in that. Because me, I work shifts until like 12 a.m. and there's like 4 prayers I have to do, and you shouldn't 4 prayers that I should do, because in my heart now it doesn't feel right to not do the prayers. Not because I'm going against Islam, but because I'm like, God, like you do so much for me. I can't just take this time out to shout you out real quick.
If
like,
there's
you know
fulfillment
what I mean?
in it,
It's full fulfillment.
Because if you do it and you see it as a chore, then you're not really doing.
Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say with that.
It's like where's your temple? Right here.
Oh, that happened in trip. We went to church. We walked in. And it
almost been trippy. I heard church is a scary place.
It's funny because the vibe we both got was very devilish.
It's true because like
organs were playing, bro, and we're walking down the middle aisle, and it's pipe organ. It's the real shit, like the real deal. So
people were there. And
where was this?
It was at the end of a mass. Yeah, it was the one downtown. It was a church near downtown. Tim was just like, hey, church is open, and he really wanted to go, which is funny because he had been wanting to go for a long time, and every time he'd go, they'd be closed, which is already a sign. And he gets there, and
but he had to experience it to know,
disappointment because he just sees how much of a fucking. It looked like a play, like theater. First of all, and two. When we're walking down the middle aisle, you're tripping, so everything looks like a movie,
Oh my
right?
God, I can't
Wait,
even-
The
Imagine
fucking organ is playing, and it's like the most dissonant chords
You felt
I've
I bet you felt it in your
ever
gut, right?
Oh,
It's like
bro, I was like,
twisting your
something's wrong here. I was like, what the fuck? And then we sat down near the front looking at the like sculptures and shit, and then we saw some dude like grabbing Jesus's leg. Like it's like a sculpture of Jesus
allowed?
on a cross. He's like grabbing it, and you can tell like he's fully like
plastic structure.
he's just lost, and he's like, oh fuck, he's getting. That's probably like the highlight of his days, which is fine because if it's bringing you spiritual fulfillment, sick. But to see how people can go through an entire day, and they need to be in that specific location to find God when God is everywhere.
And then once you're out, you're free. He'll forgive you anyways. You're free.
Yeah.
You're free to go, man.
Basically, our conclusion was like they just put God in a box.
Bro, and like you don't even.
box.
They just put
It's like my beef with religion, and of course, like it's
Beef
not.
with the religion.
It's not the religion because religion, like it's the
People
people.
with how we portray religion.
Right. You don't need to go through a priest to meet God. That defeats the whole purpose.
everywhere.
It's frustrating, man. Like
It's so
Everywhere.
frustrating, especially when you feel like
Everywhere.
you're really out here talking to him, and it's not like that for people. It's very frustrating.
Everywhere, bro.
But it's like, for me, when I look at it, I just don't get how like a whole collective could see it as that. Like I don't understand. I don't understand
it.
it.
It
I
is
don't.
demonic, bro, to an extent.
It is.
Bro, it's so odd.
Especially because like it's so easy for so many people to go into that way and brainwash to all think it as that way, and then they shun those who are actually much close. Okay, I won't say much closer. I don't know if they are or not, but like who have a different relationship than them from God, but like are very close in their own opinion with God, and then they shun that because they're not going about it the same way that they. I don't know. It's a concept I would never.
And I'm doing it
understand.
right now.
As you should.
Turned
Whatever
it-
feels right.
It's been turned
As
into
you
an
should.
intellectual practice. It's been just as the West. Crazy fucking quote Ramdas said about fucking LSD. You know how
try
the
that.
West. You should. You know how I don't condone the use of drugs because
No, we're talking. It's
illegal.
code for something else. We don't do
Yeah, I
drugs
was
here.
like, come on.
Silly.
He talks about how how the West is so material based, right?
Mm-hmm.
We in the West really wanted a means to spiritual path and spiritual enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
Being so material, the answer presented itself to us in a material form.
And
LSD.
Hey.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
And apparently,
which is chemically synthetic completely.
I read somewhere that, like inherently, Western people they're late to pick things up, but when they do, it's like super fast. Like they will pick it up.
Intellect.
Bro. 50 years since like the psychedelic revolution, people now it's like you got Ram Dass, you got Duncan Trussell, you got like whole communities
They
of
could change
people.
a lot as a collective.
Oh, such a weird time, bro. 60s. Oh man, 60s,
Now,
50s.
now, bro. Now.
But now, you know what I'm
now,
saying?
now from before.
Now, bro. This ties into what you were saying earlier about noticing the small shit. The great arises out of small things that are honored and cared for. Everybody's life really consists of small things. Greatness is a mental abstraction and a favorite fantasy of the ego. The paradox is that the foundation for greatness is honoring the small things of the present moment instead of pursuing the idea of greatness. The present moment is always small, and in the sense that it is always simple, but concealed within it lies the greatest power.
Can I read that?
I got the greatest hugs in this room. I give the greatest hugs in this room. I don't know. Just kidding. Just letting it flow through me, bro.
So just the small shit. Because you notice things easier. That's where intuition comes in. It's like the whole thing with Steve and how like everyone was obsessing over styluses, and he's like, wait.
You have a thumb.
You have 5.
You have 5, 10.
You have 10 styluses. Why
20.
wasting.
Bro, every point. I use my nose. I use
Literally.
my tongue. Like
So it's just it's a small thing that you don't notice if you're too caught up in intellect and like how do I make this thing where I can, you know? So yeah, the greatness
Oh my
lies
God,
in the
yeah.
small things.
and just touching back on that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
look at this
class-
mutual respect.
Class on Wednesday, ergonomics. Most fun. I've only been there for 3 hours, and definitely it's the most
I was like,
fun,
didn't
best
school
class.
has, like,
Let me know when it
I've
is and I'll
ever-
pull up.
Wednesdays, 2 to 5.
Fuck, I think I have class during that
Skip
time.
one.
I'll
I
skip.
don't know.
I'll skip.
But
Fuck it.
they were talking. Professor, she has a background in philosophy, and she's an ergonomist. Bro, you can see the influence that
So
philosophy
hot. I'm gonna
has
come.
had on her.
I'm gonna
on
And
her
when she
work.
teaches the ergonomics, huh?
Because everything she
I'm
says
gonna
is so like
come.
holistic. Like, bro,
Yeah.
everything is centered ergonomics, human factors.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do is centered around human beings, right? Social structures. And she just brought up like a chair and how there's a company that we designed
Philosophically
the chair.
thinking about a chair.
And well, no, she asked the class, and in my head, I'm like,
What is a chair?
I'm like, oh, the design was meant to really like comfort or just like suit every single position in the modern day. So, phone and computer, leaning back. There's like 12 different positions that it satisfies. But in my head, I'm thinking, they're so comfortable they don't even realize that they're dependent on a chair to fucking use a phone. Nigga, squat. Like what? And I should have like brought it up, but you know how in class you're like your heart's just beating. Should I say it? Should I not?
That's the reason why you should say it. But anyways.
Yeah, but I feel like she would have really enjoyed that point.
She would have. Why didn't you say it?
I don't know. My heart was.
That
beating.
was then.
I know though.
But it's true though, right? It's like
That was
we kind
then.
of overlooked like, oh, we need this.
We need this.
We need this, but
This will fulfill us.
I mean, we've evolved to this point with bones as fucking weapons.
Do you feel like to tie on to the subject of this? Do you feel like you use presence to notice the little things, or noticing the little things brings you into more present
I think it's both
awareness? Or is
ways.
it? Yeah, okay, I was gonna say. I feel like
Yeah.
it's
just as emotions create thoughts, which creates
thoughts-
emotions,
yeah, exactly.
which yeah.
Okay.
A way to get into the present moment is to notice a little thing, like, oh my god, look at the pattern on this table.
And then
And you don't even
From
know
there-
that it's
Get you to
happening
the-
now.
From there,
You think
you're
it's happening
fully
in your
here now.
head, but it's happening now.
right now.
Here we are. Here we are.
Here we are
Now.
now.
Oh.
Capital N.
Is the notion of success just an egoic illusion? How do we measure true success? Well,
Money, obviously.
That reminds me of your tweet about success is
some,
a feeling.
by the way.
So
it is.
like so that really that is so the simplest way to answer it. It's literally just a feeling.
He's about to say it way better
Bro,
than I
when-
did.
Oh, so when you on your
Oh,
story,
sorry, you were
when,
still going,
when you were
sorry.
like, it's 1 p.m. I lost a day, and then the next one was, that's stupid. I have the fucking whole day ahead of me. I actually felt that. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this guy.
I caught it.
Inspiring.
I caught it as soon as I posted. I was like, but wait, this is just one. There's a whole 12 hours if I want to. And I had a great day. The world will tell you that success is achieving what you set out to do, which is what everyone thinks success is. It will tell you that success is winning, that finding recognition and or prosperity are essential ingredients in any success. All or some of the above are usually byproducts of success, but they are not success. The conventional notion of success is concerned with the outcome of what you do. Some say that success is the result of combination of hard work and luck, which is exactly what I think until this point, what I've thought until this point, or determination and talent, or being in the right place at the right time. While any of these determinants of success, while any of these may be determinants of success, they are not its essence. What the world doesn't tell you, because it doesn't know, is that you cannot become successful. You can only be successful. Don't let a mad world tell you that success is anything other than a successful present moment. And what is that? There is a sense of quality in what you do, even the most simple action. Quality implies care and attention, which comes with awareness. Quality requires your presence. The unconscious assumption behind all action is that success is a future event and that the end justifies the means. But the end and the means are one. And if the means did not contribute to human happiness, neither will the end. The outcome, which is inseparable from the actions that led to it, is already contaminated by those actions and will create further unhappiness. Another way of putting it, what the future holds for you depends on your state of consciousness now.
This guy's good.
Bro, when I read
good.
that, I was like, holy fuck. I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Oh, let's keep going. Okay. The whole is made up of existence and being, the manifested and unmanifested, the world and God. So when you become aligned with the whole, you become a conscious part of the interconnectedness of the whole and its purpose, the emergence of consciousness into this world. As a result, spontaneous, helpful occurrences, chance encounters, coincidences, and synchronistic events happen much more frequently, which is what we noticed as soon as we started to take this shit more seriously towards the end of the year last year.
This summer, like the place that helps you find a job, right? I've been looking for a place, like I've been looking for a tailor shop to work at for 2 years now. I mean, I didn't look. I wanted one.
You want, okay.
But then this summer, right, I went. So it was like 4 weeks. You just basically find a job. Bro, they pay you to find a job. They get you bus tickets. They get you clothes. There's a budget
so there's really
of
no
150.
reason to not
No.
find this job.
And the thing
Doors
is,
are
like,
open.
every single day, 5 days of the week, I would be, like, handing out resumes, making resume. And just that, like, literally fucking coincidence, bro. Like, Monday.
Coincidence.
So we needed to, over the weekend, we needed to hand out, like, at least, like, 5 resumes to anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I didn't do it until the Monday. So I just skipped. I was like, oh, I got a meeting. Blah, blah, blah. So I skipped. I handed out resumes, right? I also had an interview. So right before the interview, I handed it out to the place I work now. Walk in. It's Monday. Hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. My name's Zachary. Blah, blah. I handed in. And then I went to the interview. The interview went really shitty. Thankfully, because the manager was an asshole, seemed like. I don't want to say whatever. He just was not, bad vibes.
Was not aligned with you.
Yeah. And then that same week, so I handed in my resume Monday. Thursday, I get the interview. Wednesday, I get a job at Moore. I got the job at Moore's. And then Thursday, I get the interview for the place I handed in on Monday. Stefano's. I walk in, like, coolest fucking place ever. There's music playing. He's playing like Fela Kuti, jazz, everything I listen to. And he's like young. He's 30, right? And it's a small family business. So I'm going to learn everything.
You're in a family.
I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
I'm in a family. I'm going to learn. I'm not going to be in a corporation, sell this shirt. This shipment coming in, none of that. And more intimate. And the craziest thing is he told me after I got the job, you know that Monday you came in? He's like, you know that Monday you came in? That was the day that my parents left. They just retired and they left. And that week I was going to put up wanted posters.
It's
Look at
almost
that,
as if
alignment.
It's almost as if the universe put that there for you.
I literally think of the universe as my little parent, and it's like when I start working with the ways of it, or like technically the rules, the ways of it, it's like that's when things start to fall into your lap. And I think that's what happened for you. Because it's like, even before that, I was at the worst, McDonald's, the worst job. In my head, the worst. Yes, you know the one. The worst job ever, in my opinion. So,
for sure.
To McDonald's, you know. But, and for so long, I've been applying to places for the longest time. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't want retail. I want food business, But I was so ungrateful every single day going to that job. I couldn't stand it. So for the longest, that's why I was like, I noticed now that that's why I wasn't getting a new job. But after that, I'm like, hey, realistically, one day I want to be a server. That'll make me more money. So, I started actually taking little steps. Like, I would just look nicer at work. At first, I did not care about how I looked going there. But slowly, I started to look nicer, smile more, be more kinder. And after that, I got 2 jobs. 2 serving jobs fell into my lap. The one I'm at now pays me every single week. It's like, it's literally, it keeps my financial needs in check. So it's like, when you start to come into terms with the things you need to do, and like, I wouldn't say they're rules, but like there's little secrets that you do.
Laws.
Exactly. When you start to follow the things that the universe wants you to do, it's almost like that little parent. When you start to listen to the ways, you make it more. Not saying like listening to your parents, yeah, that brings happiness. But you get
only a little bit. Don't listen to them only a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you get to
only
the things
enough.
that you want more, and it's like you get it times 10. times 20 times 30. It's like abundance, and that's to tie into the earlier topic they were talking about. Abundance can only come to you when you start to also take the actions, but see things
when you become
for what they
abundant.
Yeah, exactly. See things as they are and appreciate them. And I am so happy. That's all I have to say about that. Like that's so, because I know what it feels like, especially when it comes to jobs in this economy and how it feels to not have the one you want, or to have to settle for something just because you need that. And especially tying into, like, it actually ties into what you do and your path of this thing that you do with your
look at all the learning you're doing.
Exactly. And also, like, you like to make clothes, and this one is, like, for now at least, I hope it's helping you in the best way to expand on that talent that you have, you see.
The
so
techniques.
That's a very good thing to happen for you.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm very happy about that, because I couldn't stand
And I want to read a quote from the War of Art. I posted it yesterday.
I feel like I'm really loud. I can't tell though. Am I loud? You're gonna know later. You're gonna hear me screaming into this.
Technology.
Or imagine it's like,
You got be your now background too. Real niggas.
Pranav.
But mine is.
Hey, what's good, Pranav? That's for later.
Whoa! It seems like he's talking about shit. Okay, I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna watch that.
I don't even fucking follow.
He look like he talking about shit.
Okay. So, this is concerning the Scottish Himalayan expedition. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth. The ignorance. Fuck.
Funny how that's the word you're stumbling on.
Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth. The ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would not otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from that decision, raising in one's favor all manners of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man would have dreamed would come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it now. Boldness has genius, magic, and power in it. Begin it now.
Damn it! Should have made that the fucking outro, but whatever. I have another outro idea, which is
Fuck, I was gonna say something else.
the last paragraphs of the book, but that's yeah. I don't even remember reading that. That's weird. Yeah, it's like when you actually fucking, no matter where you set your mind, it's almost as if basically the universe is always on your side, no matter whether your intentions are positive or negative. But the thing is, karma works too.
You know, the crazy thing is, we say universe, this, universe, that. Literally, the amount of heartbeats we have in a day is the amount of times the Earth revolves around the sun in 1 year or 1 day, something like that.
Oh yeah, you start to find weird patterns.
Macrocosm equals microcosm. This is our universe.
If you want to understand the universe, understand the universe that is your body. How much shit is going on right now in your body?
I'm digesting. I'm like
breathing
in,
sending oxygen. Fucking.
There's blood rushing through every single vein.
Like it's being continuously sent.
And the crazy thing is, like, bro, I was cold yesterday from
you know how much computing data your fucking brain is going through for your
movement of your hands.
I got home
now?
and it was fucking freezing. My fingers were still like frozen. Felt like I was gonna get hypothermia, right? Literally, by intention, I was just sending blood to my fingers.
Fuck no,
bro. Like
he was like, fuck no.
6 breaths in, like I was okay.
It does it for you.
It's almost as if you have more control than you think you do, but to get more control, you need to let go of it.
Or do drugs.
Yeah.
I like drugs.
Drugs is always a good option.
The ones your body makes.
Anyways, this is the last bit, and then we can wrap shit up. I lost. This is beautiful because we're all three like artists, and I think this applies a lot to creation and like doing things, because doing things is the outer material part of shit.
The projection.
And you need to align your inner purpose with your outer purpose. And a lot of people will let their outer purpose be king. So I am an artist who does this for this certain amount of money, and for this certain amount of money I want to be able to have money so I could do this, so I could do that. And then that's your purpose. Like that's it, outer purpose. That's it. Like there's no awareness in that. You just want that just to have it. Materialism, right? But And basically, he talks about that before he brings these terms up. Anyways, the modalities of awakened doing. He calls it awakened doing. When you are doing consciously, you're creating or being
so powerful.
Yeah, when you're aware of what you're doing.
When you
not just
breathe
doing
consciously.
When you breathe consciously,
Wim
the
Hof,
amount of power you get when you just start breathing consciously, no matter where you are.
Do you know Wim Hof?
Yes. You showed me that one and the whole breathing technique before you. Yeah.
We put bare niggas on.
Nah, he put me on. He did put me on.
Anyways,
I remember you were coming from your retreat.
Yeah.
You tell me about it.
I did this morning, and it's been a minute since I've done it. Felt great.
You're literally turning your autonomic nervous system on.
And the thing is, it
By
takes
will.
no time. It takes no time to
Maybe
do
20
it.
minutes.
Even if you don't want
Not
to do
like-
the 30 breaths, you could do. I realized you can do 15. You could do 10. It's just the charge is less. The ideal one is 30. You could go over or under. If you don't have
but
much time,
anything makes an impact.
if
Anything.
you don't have much time, you want to do it for 5 minutes. You want to do one cycle. You want to do half a cycle.
Bro, like not
Whatever.
even that.
It's
Like,
crazy.
there's
Anytime something's wrong, you'll just fix it. Why? How?
And it's
just
like-
breathe.
people don't even
Like,
know how to
just breathe.
like most people. I don't think they know what a complete breath is. There's 3 chambers: your diaphragm, your lungs, and your chest. Literally, if you just do that once a day consciously, you'll build it up.
That's why when people say I
Bro.
suck at meditation, how do I start? I'm like, bro, meditate
Bro.
30
Just
seconds.
2
a day.
years in, 2 years in practicing that every single day, I can inhale for like 40 seconds, and bro, you know that joke? I was like, damn, I haven't held my breath all day. Like seriously, like just practice it. Obviously, don't kill yourself. Don't do it while you're driving. Don't do it on a body of water. Do it in a controlled environment where you can actually challenge yourself. That's powerful.
It's powerful.
And life just
Full
becomes
of power.
so interesting. Like every moment is just so interesting now. It's like, huh?
Because also breathing slows everything down, right? So you
Yeah.
can really take it all in more. Too.
Instead of like in yoga class,
Like,
I like
what are you doing right
I
now?
like the breath as a gauge way more than seconds.
Mm-hmm.
People go 30 seconds, sure. I go like 4 breaths.
For holding a pose?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, I actually changed
'Cause then-
how I
yeah.
practice yoga once I started doing it breath based.
Bro,
it's,
that too?
It's made to go in alignment with
And
breath.
there's a huge correlation between the people who can't hold it and the rapidity of their breath. I'm
Because
done.
what you realize
Yeah.
is the breathing in, you breathe into the spot that you're stretching.
Mhm.
When you breathe out, you stretch further.
Mhm.
And then you just do that for a few more breaths. So you can stretch it to the most efficiently as possible. And you're also breathing, so you're aware of it at the same time. So you're sending all of your awareness to that muscle that you're stretching.
Not just that, but your nervous system is getting a hint, telling your brain, this is safe.
Because you're slowed down too, so it knows not to fucking panic. Because you know what's crazy? Stress is associated, surprise, surprise. Stress and fucking is associated with fucking disease and cancer.
Bro,
Literally being
I
stressed
feel,
out.
I feel like the news of getting cancer is worse
Is-
than just being like ignorant of it and being happy. Literally, because that will be like, fuck. Now I have
Now you're gonna think that this and that, and that's gonna lead to the
to,
next thing.
and that's just gonna feed it.
Oh, cancer is a weird thing. It's like, wow,
No sugar. It feeds on sugar, bro. Like sugar is the number one thing it feeds on. If you just cut that out, it has nothing else to eat. Well, obviously you can figure out other things, but or just eat nothing, your body begins to
Fuck it.
atrophy.
And you know,
Kills
Fuck it.
everything you don't need.
Yeah, it kills cells.
Dr. Sebi was talking about that, and I honestly believe they did something to that guy. But
Oh.
because he was getting close to that, and because doctors don't want you to find out what holistic health is,
Financially not good.
And the crazy thing about now is there's a fucking huge community of biohackers and like Ben Greenfield, fucking Dave Asprey, fucking probably
That's
don't know
what
these names.
Donna
but-
said in the WhatsApp. The first time I fucking log in, because I had a new phone, I didn't get notifications. So I was like, what the fuck is going on with that group chat? And I log in, the message I see is, when it's an idea's time, nothing can stop it. So now that you're seeing all these things arising and people are starting to question whether Western medicine is effective for everything, it's effective for everything. I don't think so. You can't focus. Take this pill that in a few hours you'll go back to not being able to focus again.
Bro, I
Does
see
it solve
people-
the problem?
I see people drinking Red Bulls and it like I just want to tell you like or breathing from their mouth like bro, out of love, don't do that. But you can't really go up to strangers and be like, hey man, just stop breathing from your mouth.
It's pretty elitist.
You know, like how do I?
my
Where's that?
question
Comes
is
off
like,
as
if
pretentious.
we all know that these things are like so bad for us, like So what's gonna stop people from actually constantly consuming these same things? Because I feel like it's also a question of like how much power people actually realize that they have when it comes to self-healing or comes to actually getting to the point where you realize that you don't need to rely on these medicines that have this and that and these things in it that you don't even know how to pronounce. When you realize that like you don't need to go through that, you could just go use God's green earth to do the things that to use those things there to get you to the place that you need. But I don't know like what it's gonna take for like people to realize and understand that it's not about the medicines that we take, because they're going to bring you back to the same place. They're going to bring you back to using them again, and they're going to bring you. It's just going to be it's going to be a constant loop with that thing again. I honestly want there to be a way.
There's a paradox that I think explains that. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's like I think it's in the book. The paradox is suffering is what can lead to the dissolution of the ego. But
Show
only
me
conscious suffering.
And I think the Buddha said this: I will show you suffering and the end of suffering, but not the end. You have to
need to. Like I think suffering is a big part of it.
You know, there's a really simple way to get people on board. Get A$AP Rocky to just shout it from his story. Bro, he wears a skirt. It's hip now.
Hey, man, shout out like meditation.
Yeah, no, he really... Why did you sound like him for a second?
I think there's another thing Ramdas said where Gandhi, where he talks about Gandhi, where Gandhi got asked if there's any message you would like to leave for the world, blah, blah. And Gandhi's answer was, my life is my message. So basically, this is just to say, like, what you do will be the biggest, like, pointer to, like, what as advice for people. There's words, and then it's like people who say lead by example. It's like you can say all these things, but if there's nothing to show for, which is how people work, especially here, logical, right? You need to see it to believe it type shit. So how do you get people to like, how do you say it? How do you rub off on people in terms of these things? Is to just get better at it. Live that life.
Practice.
Yeah, it's
And
just live that life.
Ramdas,
It starts with you.
It was in the lecture you sent me yesterday. He said, the only thing you can teach is your being.
He's the greatest fucking being of all time.
Bro, that shit, like, I can say all these things all I want. Like, I can say...
Only thing you teach is your being.
Like,
basically, that's...
I can tell you this is what it is, but if it's coming from the wrong mouth, you're not going to believe it.
Exactly.
Isn't it funny how he also starts his lectures by saying that I have a weird predicament because what I'm trying to tell you isn't something that can be conceptualized, but I need to conceptually speak it to you.
The one who knows, the one who speaks doesn't know.
And the one who doesn't speak knows. Before a speech. Bro. Right before a speech. Anyways, let's finish it with this. It's a lot. Fuck. Anyways. Okay. Fuck it. The modalities of awakened doing are acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. Each one represents a certain vibrational frequency of consciousness. You need to be vigilant to make sure that one of them operates whenever you are engaged in doing anything at all, from the most simple task to the most complex. If you're not in a state of either acceptance, enjoyment, or enthusiasm, look closely and you will find that you're creating suffering for yourself and others. Whatever you cannot enjoy doing, you can at least accept that this is what you have to do. Acceptance means for now, like washing the dishes or something like doing chores or whatever. Acceptance means for now, this is what this situation, this present moment requires me to do, and so I do it willingly. Some of those people who, through creative action, this is talking about enjoyment, I think. Some of those people who through creative action enrich the lives of many others simply do what they enjoy doing most without wanting to achieve or become anything through that activity. The 14th century poet, Sufi master Hafiz, expresses this truth beautifully. I love that quote. I am a hole in a flute that the Christ's breath moves through. Listen to this music. Fucking
I like that.
Fire. Enthusiasm connects to the War of Art like third part where he talks about like the divinity shit. actually it connects to the whole book. Enthusiasm means there is deep enjoyment in what you do, plus the added element of a goal or a vision that you work toward. When you add a goal to the enjoyment of what you do, the energy field of vibrational frequency changes. With enthusiasm, you will find that you don't have to do it all by yourself. In fact, there is nothing of significance that you can do by yourself. Sustained enthusiasm brings into existence a wave of creative energy, and all you have to do is ride the wave. Enthusiasm and ego cannot coexist. Oh. You cannot manifest what you want. You can only manifest what you already are. Shit like that, you know what I'm saying? The only existence the future actually has is as a thought form in your mind. So when you look to the future for salvation, you're unconsciously looking to your own mind for salvation. You're trapped in form, and that is ego. That's the last note I took.
What book is it? This is this one, huh? I'm going to read this. Gem of a book.
So either you accept...
It's in like every value village.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah.
That's where
like
I found
4
this.
copies.
That's where I found this. It's crazy. It's like available.
Yeah.
So it's like you either accept, if you can't enjoy, you either accept, or you apply enthusiasm. Enthusiasm just means you're doing something you enjoy.
Play.
Yeah.
Bro, Eckhart Tolle, did you listen to any podcasts with him?
I haven't yet. I only watched the video of the...
Yeah, spinal wave. Bro, everyone should try that.
What?
It's called a spinal wave.
I'm gonna try
It's so simple.
What is it?
It's exactly what it sounds like.
We'll show you what it is.
I'll just do it now.
Oh, you do it?
So you need like a flat. You just find a wall.
Okay.
Assuming... Okay, let me be the wall. For you.
Okay.
Also, I want to read that quote again for myself. Can
So
I ask
one thing at a time. First, your nose touches.
Assuming the wall is...
you? Okay. Yeah.
Your nose touches, chin touches, chest touches,
And then
belly touches,
You make
and
sure-
then your pelvis. And then by the time your pelvis touches the wall,
you're back here.
my nose is all the way back here.
So then you bring it back up.
And just back.
And
You're just creating a wave with your spine. Because
And
you're
this does what
outside.
for you?
Well, if you're
Yeah?
not moving, you're dying, right?
Basically.
And when do we ever explore that range of movement today?
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
we don't.
You dance, so you probably have in some sense.
Yeah.
But
That's...
the general populace, when do they do that? They're either sitting down on their phone.
And going to this place and that place doesn't count, right? Like going
Well,
to work, doing these
I
things
mean,
don't count.
it's movement, so it's good. It's better than nothing, right?
Yeah.
But it's like you're only as old as your spine, as the Chinese say, because that's the center of fucking everything, right?
Yeah.
Spinal
That's where the
fluid,
Kundalini
Energy
rises
is.
through.
like nervous system. That's where everything is. So if that's not healthy, you're gonna age, even if you're young. You're only as old as your spine. So that's arguably one of the most important things in your body. So you have to stimulate it, right? So what that's actually doing is by moving it in a range of motion that you've never explored,
Stimulation.
you're stimulating it, and like the spinal fluid, it's lubricating your spine. So just like honestly, do it 9 times. Eckhart Tolle prescribes 5 minutes at a time, but just try it 9 times, wave, and then reverse 9 times. You'll see the difference. Like you'll feel it so much better.
Hearing every single, like, this is not a...
Speaking to the mic.
Sorry. This is not like a simple thing, but hearing every single, like, simple, like, activity that you've been speaking on today just reminds me that we actually almost have absolutely no reason to not be in a state of wellness. Like, there's actually everything at our fingertips.
tune
Like,
in.
there's too many simple things that we can do. Like, I wouldn't even have thought like that was something that you can do to
Right?
change your whole spine. Like, there's just so many things. Wow, I'm just amazed. That's
And
good.
it's like there's so many things. You want to sit? Here's a chair
there's
with 4
so
legs
many
and
ways.
a back
Like, you just
rest.
need yourself,
You don't need that.
literally. You don't need anything. No money required. No thinking required. Just you.
That's why Asian cultures is so cool, because like they want to sit. They just either sit in lightning or...
They
or,
find ways doing anything.
And in my
or
sustainability
a
class,
thing.
they're asking. Did you just
Can I read
ask
the
like
quote?
what are you guys interested in?
Oh, sorry. I didn't know this was after.
So it was like the material side of sustainability, right? Like you make a product, where does it end up? And for me, it's like you're kind of like that's secondary. Primary should be how long do you want to live? Are you healthy? Like from there, you can finally, I think, it's more sustainable that way to sustain the world. If you first sustain yourself, then worry about the other things. Because if your back is fine, if you can actually sit in a squat, we don't need to make 10,000 chairs for every student in this school. You know? Just eat with your hands. Who needs a fucking spoon?
Exactly. All these things just going to waste.
Right? Just, that's a spoon.
Yeah.
Could become a fucking fork. Could become a fucking knife.
It's a soup spoon.
Oh yeah, you can't eat with this spoon.
Darn stupid.
You need a soup spoon to eat the spoon. Oh my god, man.
Did you want to
Table
read
manners.
something?
No, it was not.
Any
go ahead.
conclusion statements? I'll read this to conclude.
I think if I bring it up now, it's just gonna. Fuck it. I want to say it. So the same podcast, Duncan Trussell one. He was saying like, literally, everything is energy. Everything traps energy in it. So if you're eating fast food every single day, literally, like where has that food gone? Who made it? Is it some guy that's super like depressed in some factory like?
And the animal itself.
1 to 2, A to B, animal 2, right?
How's the animal treated?
How's the animal
Yeah.
treated? The actual, like, the cells in which you're consuming and the energy trapped in it, the person who made it is not loving life.
I mean, there's fucking proof of that because you feel like shit after you eat.
Yeah.
All of that is
So if
needed.
that shit is
99%.
going
But it
into
tastes
your
so
stomach,
good.
Yeah.
it
It's
does not anymore.
it's purely
I
pleasure.
can't enjoy it.
I don't
No,
even
me,
enjoy
I
it.
can't-
I don't
like-
really enjoy it that much anymore.
No, tastes so good.
The most, no, like even that,
Tastes
like
so good.
when I think about every time, like I don't know, we'll go on a road trip or something, and they're stopping at McDonald's, like I look at the menu, I'm like,
I
I'll
literally
just-
can't choose anymore.
just like,
even
just let
even
my
if it
body
does
eat
taste good,
itself.
my body doesn't react the same ways because I don't like intake those anymore as much as I used to. So even if it tastes good
not as
in the
good.
moment, it won't feel good. Like have you ever been bored of eating when it's not like
oh, bro,
It's like, why am I still
full of
doing
nutrients?
it? It's been
when
like
it's
an
not full
hour.
of nutrients. Like now when I eat those things,
Facts.
I'm literally bored eating them. So it's like I do it and it's like I don't feel good. So it just makes it easier to not
Like,
eat it because I'm so used to not
honestly,
eating it. So
the
now when I do it,
fries are so trash.
And bro,
The
you
McDonald's
like,
fries?
it's crazy because we don't think about it, right? It's
Like, niggas-
I'm just
niggas
hungry. And it's
overhype
cheap.
that shit.
It's hungry and it's cheap.
yeah.
But that shit is going into that. You are becoming. Your body is gonna make your eye.
Nigga, you
from
becoming
that,
fast food.
You know, like your skin is gonna become that.
You becoming fast food. You become it. you
Fucking, like-
become a shittily made burger.
It's so fascinating, man. Like everything's like your brain and your body is one system. You can't separate that shit anymore.
But everything is as it is.
But no one has time to care right now, right?
Everything is as it is. Everything is just going as it should be going. So
Let them die. They'll figure it out next
Basically.
lifetime.
they'll die no matter what.
Quicker though this time.
Like in the end, it's annoying because nothing really matters. So it's like it's they each playing the
And that's
role.
why you can do fucking anything in the world you want because nothing matters.
Yeah,
So go big.
and or not go big doesn't matter.
That's true.
Except
Like,
with this fast food stuff. Please don't go big with that. That stuff's not good.
even that doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but-
You end
No,
up
but
in
nah.
the same place. You either you're probably gonna end up with a reincarnation that karma let karma take care of it. It's not your job.
Night job.
It's
My
not
job.
It's not your fucking job, nigga. Fuck, man. I want McDonald's right now.
I don't.
All right, that was a fucking solid episode. Fuck, I enjoyed that. Did y'all enjoy it? Did that feel good?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed you
Was it
guys.
too heavy?
I enjoyed you.
Did y'all?
How was the now just now? Was it delicious?
The now. I like the now from before better.
How was the now just now? All right, it's so hard to finish with a fucking quote because it seems so fucking pretentious. Anyways, Eckhart ends the fucking book with these few paragraphs and words. Quote, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth," unquote, writes the biblical prophet. "The foundation for a new earth is a new heaven, the awakened consciousness. The earth, external reality, is only its outer reflection. The arising of a new heaven, and by implication, a new earth, are not future events that are going to make us free. Nothing is going to make us free because only the present moment can make us free. That realization is the awakening. Awakening as a future event has no meaning because awakening is the realization of presence. So the new heaven, the awakened consciousness, is not a future state to be achieved. A new heaven and a new earth are rising within you at this moment. And if they are not arising at this moment, they are no more than a thought in your head and therefore not arising at all. What did Jesus tell his disciples? Heaven is right here in the midst of you. In the Sermon of the Mount, Jesus makes a prediction that to this day very few people have understood. He says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." In modern versions of the Bible, quote-unquote meek is translated as humble. Who are the meek or the humble, and what does it mean? And what does it mean that they shall inherit the earth? The meek are the egoless. They are those who have awakened to the essential true nature as consciousness, and it recognize that essence in all others, all life forms. They live in a surrendered state and so feel their oneness with the whole and the source. They embody the awakened consciousness that is changing all aspects of life in our planet, including nature, because life on Earth is inseparable from the human's consciousness that perceives and interacts with it. This is the sense in which the meek will inherit the Earth. A new species is arising on the planet. It is arising now, and you are it. And that's how this book ends.
Or just go to church once a
like
week.
this guy.
Or just put God in a box. Like, fuck it.
It reminds me of one of the quotes he was talking about when he was like, it was something like looking forward to, I forgot this, sorry. I'm forgetting I'm talking to you guys, but on a podcast.
You just forget there's a fucking
so
whole
he
ass
was
system
mentioning
going on.
something about, he was like looking forward to a future
I'm just
heaven.
looking into the lens, sorry.
A future heaven creates for a present hell. Something he said something like that, and that just tied into when he was mentioning like the whole thing about heaven.
That's in the Power Now?
Was it that one?
I don't think I read that in here.
No, it wasn't in this. It's the Power of Now. Probably.
That's crazy.
most
Looking for a
likely.
future heaven creates a present hell. Basically.
This guy is really good.
There's also when he says, he quotes someone else, the path to hell is paved with good intentions.
I've seen that somewhere. Was it in a certain book? Or he just
I think he's quoting something. He was quoting something very famous.
Wow.
Too much intention creates tension. Give us money.
Oh man. I'm tired of kind of saying that now. But it's kind of satirical, so. Yeah.
Can I have this?
No.
I like how you did the website.
Is this off? Can I?
Yeah, you can see it.
What Instagram?
Like on the card, how it's like divided.
Oh, it's just too small. I found it on Google.
Yeah.
I found it on Tumblr actually.
It's cool.
Can you sign it for me?
Kiss me and I will.